Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Beto ORourke. This is the progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. Remember, you can also send me a tweet to EGBERTOWILLIES. That is, at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is politics done right.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Also send me a tweet to EGBERTOWILLIES. That is, at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is politics done right.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics Done Right. I'm Beto ORourke, your host. Thank you so kindly for being a part of the show. We are going to have a great show for you today because, guess what we have? We have one of the most active activists here in the entire county in the entire Harris County. But it's deeper than that because, I say Harris County. In reality, it is the most active activist likely in Texas. And if you go to the site, I have some links to where he's at, where you are actually going to see the word. Now, that is a little thing. If you wanted to get something to crop it up for you, it's there. You couldn't get the share out, or did you get the share in? Okay. Well, actually, we can do that share directly from when you start introducing yourself. I'll do the share onto your onto your page, right? Your page. Tell them what your page is.
Well, I've got several pages. My personal page is William Bill McLeod, and that's my Facebook personal page. And then I have my campaign page, which is William in parentheses Bill McLeod for Harris County Civil Court.
But wait a minute.
What?
Wait a minute. I didn't give you the proper introduction yet. So why are you giving these people
I'll
your name for? Look.
Hey, he asked me a question. He asked me the question.
Anyhow, folks, what we have in studio today, like I was explaining to you guys, one of the most active activists here in town. This guy's all over Harris County, and one of the reasons I wanted to bring him on the show is everybody thinks that we have a blue wave coming. Everybody thinks that we have this stuff won. The fact of the matter, we don't. So for folks all over the entire nation, I want Bill McLeod, William Bill McLeod, to be a template for how you're going to work door to door. There are a lot of other candidates that he's been working with. There are a lot of other candidates that are following this template that they're doing. But for those of you who are just joining us, the first thing I want to ask you to do is to please go ahead and share this program. Share this program because that is how the progressive message gets out. If you know how things are, we've spoken about that a whole lot of times. We don't get our message out because we are not what I call the corporatocracy is going to want to get out there. Unless we do it, we don't get it done. But anyhow, first of all, William Bill McLeod, why don't you tell us who you are first of all before we go any further into this?
I'm a candidate. I'm an activist, an organizer. I'm an attorney. I believe in a strong ground game, which really means community involvement and staying involved and active with the different communities throughout Harris County, because we've got a lot of different counties or communities in our county that need attention, that are underserved and not given any attention to. And so I try to reach out to all of the different counties or all of the different communities in our county, Harris County.
Now, one of the things that I really watch all the times, Bill, is you're on social media all of the times. And one thing I can find on social media all of the times with you, and by the way, this stuff is now shared on your personal page that you can then move it to other places if you want to later.
Oh, good. Thank you.
But, maybe not, because I think you may have blocked us from doing that. But anyhow, folks, let me tell you something. One of the things that we said is that you have to activate people. So here's
Correct.
how I want to start the program. I want to start the program by the title of the program that I mentioned on Instagram and elsewhere. And it goes as follows. This is how we are going to win the 2018 midterms. And the subtitle is, the midterm election will not be won on the social media, on TV, on the radio, on the internet, or by hoping that some demographic is going to save the day. It will be won with engagement on the ground. And here's what we have to say to that, going from the beginning. And it goes as follows. I've been watching the ups and downs of the 2018 midterm election, both locally and nationally. As I watch the generic polls that seem to indicate a great year for Democrats and with that progressives, I continue to get concerned for two reasons. A lot of people always tell me one thing: Egberto, you're always concerned. You're always concerned. Don't you think, Bill, 2010 tells me we should be concerned.
Absolutely.
2012 tells me we should be concerned. 2014 tell me we should be concerned. Why shouldn't we be concerned in 2018? The fact of the matter, folks, is too many of us, I think, and I say this humbly and I say this as best as I can, too many of us are sitting back believing, having that thought process that we have this thing won, whether in Harris County, which has turned pretty darn blue, or throughout the country proper. The reality is this thing is not won. This thing is not even close to being won, irrespective of what the generic poll looks like. Because guess what? The pollsters don't have a clue what the voter model is going to look like in 2018 on November 6th. You know what? Going to make the voter model? What guys like Bill and others on the ground, the guys at Indivisible and Swing Left and PSR and all these guys, that is what's going to determine how this voter turnout looks and whether we are really going to match what people believe should be happening this year. But anyhow, my biggest fear is complacency. When one believes they have something won outright, one has a tendency to believe that an extra effort to get to the polls or help others get to the poll is not all that necessary. And you can attest to that, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You've got to have voter contact, direct voter contact on the ground, meet them in their communities, meet them where they're at, listen to what their needs are, and talk.
Absolutely. So folks, my second concern is the narrative, and that is something I also want to talk about.
Yeah.
The narrative is very important, right? Donald Trump, with the help of the media that always lack given the proper context to economic numbers, may lead to what economic numbers lead or what they mean. He may lead many to believe that things are good enough at the time of voting.
Right.
And when they go into that voting booth, let me tell you how people vote. They go into that voting booth many times knowing, okay, I think I'm going to vote this way. And then a little thing in their head say, most people in this world are averse to change. In other words, they are really averse to change. So they go in there and there's something that's going to be in the back of their head. Every day, Trump is a very smart guy. He goes out every day and say, the economy is going very well. He goes out every day and he says, Bill, he says, why would you put people in here who are going to impeach me when the economy is doing so well? You know, he's putting this narrative into everybody's head. So when that person goes to that marginal person goes to the polls and they go and they get ready to vote, that little thing in their head is going to say, I really want to vote for Bill. I know Bill is going to really make that change. But you know what?
But
do I really want to make a change? I don't know what change looks like. So here's the deal, and this is what I want to say about narrative. My second concern is the narrative. Donald Trump, with the help of the media that always lack given the proper context to economic numbers, may lead many to believe things are good enough. And at the time of voting, decide not to make the necessary changes locally and nationally. This means we must get out there, we must get our narrative right. We must explain the sugar high the economy is on from the tax cut scam. If we do our jobs, we will win. Otherwise, we may wake up in 2010, we may wake up in 2012, or we may wake up in 2014, to which Bill says,
no, listen, this is really important, and the narrative is key. And one of the things about being a Democrat is that we have to look at the community that we're in, because we have so many different people in a large tent. So our message isn't about hate. It's about the needs and what each individual community needs. And I know the National Party sometimes gets a little criticism because there's not one single message. Well, we live in Harris County, Texas, and I believe there's probably 20 messages that are our narrative that we need to get out and make sure that we touch those people. Make sure that we bring our heart to the table. That's the message that I want to bring. My heart to the table. You bring your heart to the table. You allow people to see your heart, wear your issues on your sleeves. Don't be afraid to express and say, hey, I am against. I will not tolerate hate. I will not allow that to become part of who I am, and I won't accept that. Tell what the issues are. Express your concerns. Look at the people that are out in the community and the amazing work that's happening. I was. Can I tell a little story?
Absolutely.
I was at the NINSA conference. It was a 4-day conference, and with the Muslim community, and I had the fortunate and the best time. I was able to go to 15 different seminars, the discussion groups, the different exhibits. It was absolutely amazing, the people that I met and connected with. I even had the opportunity to visit with this one lady from Dallas, Texas, and she was talking about her son and the organization that he wanted to start, and he was working on building for the Muslim young men in Dallas. And she explained her program, and it was his program. It was amazing. I said, give me his information. I'm going to send a $100 check to him out of my personal account, because this young man needs the support of everybody. And so there's so many things that we need to understand. Right here in Houston, we better grab on to justice reform, criminal justice reform. If we don't bring that to the table and we don't bring that to the forefront, that's one of our messages. That's one of the things that we need to make sure that our voters understand. And the voters need to understand that we've got 15 Harris County criminal courts at law benches up for election this time who can really make a difference in the criminal justice system. And we need to make sure that we support them and bring them to the table. Just as we need Lena Hidalgo as our county judge, we absolutely have to have her on the bench, Penny Shaw, and Adrian Garcia. We've got to get those 3 commissioners on the bench, because if we get those commissioners on the bench, and with Rodney Ellis, we will flip how the money is spent in Harris County, and that's where it's at. The money is spent. You realize that the plaintiffs in that lawsuit, I know I'm rambling.
Please go ahead.
The plaintiffs in that lawsuit are the 15 Republican judges that our county commissioner's court is paying for. And Rodney Ellis just the other day brought a vote to the table saying, hey, I want us to abolish the lawsuit on the criminal justice issue, and he didn't get a single second. From the Republicans sitting on the county commissioner's court. If that's not crazy, we've got to make that flip. We've got to get those 3 people. We need 4 Democrats on the bench. That will make a huge difference in our county. We've got to talk about the positive things that our candidates can bring. I don't know a single Democratic candidate that's on the slate that isn't far superior than any of the Republicans. Simply, if for only one reason, I'll give you one reason. Our Democratic candidates don't support hate groups.
Absolutely. So you made a very big issue of that recently with the support that the Republicans in Texas, and specifically here in Harris County, they've been getting support from a hate group. And when you went for an interview, I think you specified why is it that you're even endorsing or considering endorsing any of these folks that has an endorsement from one of these groups.
Well, I feel like I didn't explain myself clearly, and I was upset with myself. I was upset with myself regarding that issue because I didn't nail it down in that interview, and I think it's so clear we cannot normalize hate groups. We have to stand up tall and strong and deliberate against hate groups and not normalize it, and call out the Republicans that are members of the hate group. And I'm going to tell you the name of the hate group. They're called Conservative Republicans of Texas. That's the main arm. And then in Harris County, they're called Conservative Republicans of Harris County. Go to that. Go to Texas Southern Poverty Center and look at that. Clearly, it's a hate group. Tell me every one of those Republicans are unqualified to sit on a judicial bench, given that they have sought out and received an endorsement from a hate group. I'm sorry, I don't want a judicial candidate or a judge after the election to be sitting on that bench that believes in hate.
Now, interesting enough, when we saw that, you would think that is something that would make the news out here, that we have Republicans sitting on a bench. But I want to go beyond that, because there's another issue that's important here. specifically with Democrats in Harris County, and I want you to address this. You mentioned Lena a few minutes ago or a few seconds ago. There are a whole lot of Democrats in Harris County, and when I go to some of these meetings, the few that I go to, I would hear sort of an affinity for Ed Emmett. Okay, in other words, Ed Emmett is the current commissioner's leader of the commissioner's court. What is it called? The
County Commissioner's
Court.
Yes.
And you know, folks have a tendency to believe that, well, he's a nice guy, he's one of the nice ones or whatever. And my contention is anybody who supports the GOP right now indirectly is supporting Donald Trump. I mean, you don't hear somebody like myself speak like that, because I'm the type of person that I believe is that we have to be congenial with folks. But at this point in our history, at this point in our state, at this point in our county, nobody should be given a green light if they don't speak out against what the president has spoken about. And since Emmett has not done that, there is no Democrat in Harris County who should feel justified at all not to vote for
Lena Hidalgo. And Ed Emmett does have sought out the endorsement of that hate group. So if you're a Democrat out there and you're still thinking that it's okay to vote for Ed Emmett, who supports Republicans, raises money for Republicans, and is a member of a hate group because he comes on TV when there's a flood, which he's totally mismanaged over the last 15 years.
Folks, I want to address that, because I've heard, again, going to these different events, people would talk about, well, Lena Hidalgo is younger. She's a younger person, not as old as Emmett. And what experience does she have with, let's say, managing flood control or whatever? And I continuously ask people, look at the results that we've had over the last several decades.
Exactly.
Please tell me what supposedly experienced people have done other than giving grants to others to build in the flood zone, to concrete the flood zone, and allow runoffs to flood all these places that you're representing.
Exactly.
Places like District 7, please explain.
Exactly. There is no explanation. There is no explanation than ignorance. And that we need to stand up and fight against ignorance. And the only way we're going to be able to do that is if we get our voters to the polls. We need to get our Democratic voters to the polls. And I want to segue into precinct ground game.
Go for it.
How are we going to get voters to the polls that may or may not? They're on the sideline, not sure how they're going to get there. Well, so far, precinct ground game is an
Stop a second. Okay. I want to say one thing, Bill, because remember, this is going to a podcast, a blogcast, and we're on Blog Talk Radio, and this is actually national. So I mean, there's a lot of other networks that this is going to be on. Let's whenever you're telling your story about Harris County, talk about Harris County, but also how it applies nationally.
Okay, Harris County, Texas. We've got our organization, and it's called Precinct Ground Game. And if you're a strong Democrat and you would like to take a look at what we're doing across Harris County, and you're somewhere other than Harris County, send me a request to join the group, and I will look at your Facebook page. I will look and see who you are, and if I feel like you're a strong Democrat and have legitimate reasons to want to check us out, be happy to accept you. If you're an R out there, I screen you. You're not coming into our group. The purpose of our precinct ground game is that we've had we've completed 7 events, and we strategically have placed them throughout Harris County. We go from one end of Harris County to the other. We've got 2 left. The next one is September 22nd, which is in Alief, and then the last one is in October 6th. So that gives people 3 weeks before early voting to get those last door hanging bags out. Out of the first 7 events that we've had, we've done 38,500 door hanging bags, and in those door hanging bags is Democratic information, a card from the party, cards from the candidates. Now, all the candidates aren't participating. It's the candidates that choose to participate and see value in doing this. I personally see amazing value, and so do a lot of other candidates. We've had a lot of candidates go through each one of the events. And some candidates have chosen not to because their campaign has decided that that's not the best interest for their dollars. I believe it's one of the strongest interest for our voters to be able to have a bag with Democratic information and personal information cards from different candidates. Yes, the goal is to have those after we finish these last two events, we'll have just over 50,000 door hanging bags made. The goal is for that those go to those families and that they see the value and they will vote straight party ticket Democrat. Now, if they're not straight party Democratic ticket voters and we're the only contact that they've had, the chances are the candidates that are in those bags potentially are going to get those votes other than the candidates that are not. Now, we're tracking them. We're keeping track of specifically of the precincts that get the bags, who's delivered the bags, and we'll, after the election is over, we'll be able to go back and look through the county and see which precincts participated and see whether or not there was a difference in turnout. Now, obviously, we're, knock on wood, we're really hoping that we create a lot of excitement and turnout, and Harris County has just amazing turnout all over the place because there's tons of programs, tons of different ideas out there, and activists doing all kinds of amazing work.
Now, how many candidates do you have working with you?
Each event is different. We've had up to 27.
Wow. Okay.
We've had.
Well, the bags that we stuffed a few weeks ago, I think it was more than 27 candidates that we stuffed.
It may have been. It may have been, but it does fluctuate because of depending on people's budgets and what they can and can't can't afford for the bags. And all of our cards are union printed. We because we stand behind unions as Democrats, absolutely. So every event is different, but the message is it's amazing to be able to be in a room filled with activists, with volunteers, candidates, and the candidates getting to the opportunity to meet and mingle with the people that are doing the hard work on the ground, and the candidates need to see that and see that. And I'm telling you what, it energizes people to feel good about. Hey, I've got these door hanging bags. Oh my God, I can't wait to get out into my precinct and get them on those doors and talk to those Democrats in their precinct that may not have been voting, but now have a reason to.
Right. Hey, folks, for those of you that are listening here locally or otherwise, you can give us a call at 646-716-5812. Again, that number is 646-716-5812. If you want to ask El Señor William Bill McLeod.
All right.
Did I get that right this
got
time?
it, yeah, right.
Okay, if you want to ask him any questions about where we're going, if you have questions, if you're outside of Houston, if you're on Blog Talk Radio, you can also call. Well, you know how to call in if you're on Blog Talk Radio and ask Bill. Maybe this is something that, look, we still have a few more days to that.
That's
or
right.
A few
It's
more
never too
weeks,
late.
A few more weeks for people to, first of all, to register to vote. And I don't know how many people. I don't know about the other states, but right now in Texas, our last day to register to vote is October 9th. You remember? Actually, I looked it up before I did the show. October 9th is the last day to register to vote. I'm surprised that it's October 9th, given that the election is November 6th, and it's usually 30 days before the election.
I want to talk about that.
Because let me ask
the
you,
election
are you sure
is not
about that?
The election is October 22nd, the first day of early voting.
You, exactly.
I need our Democratic households to get to the polls the first day, October 22nd. We want to pound the pavement. We want to hit those places. We want to hit those polling places. And we want to do a tsunami on October 22nd. That's the first day to vote.
But I want to add to that stuff about early voting, because there's something that's concerning when we talk about early voting. A lot of times, what happens with early voting is we skew voters. In other words, voters that would have otherwise voted anyway are the ones that come out and vote early. What we have to do this election is to keep it going. In other words, yes, we bank all those young voters that are, or in all those voters that always vote. Yes, we bank them, but we have to keep the pressure up and not believe that because we have a bombastic or blown out early voting that it means anything. All I have to say is recall how we reverted to norm in the last election, where we had a blast of people come out early voting. And then on election day, we faltered. Right.
Now, one of the things that I want to say about our early voting in this election and is going to be critical, and they have proven themselves from the morning of the after the election in 2016 when 45 was elected, the millennials have stepped up to the plate and are going to go to the polls. I am really confident. I feel amazing. The work that these millennials, and when I use the term millennial, it sometimes makes me feel like I'm putting somebody in a box.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, and I don't like that feeling. But
let me just say this.
Yeah.
I want to interrupt you because I don't mind the idea of putting. Everybody's been talking about, Democrats and identity politics and all of that. We have identity politics because we have identities.
Right,
and
that's true.
identities have different resolutions from the law, etc. in this area. So as long as there are different identities that are treated with differently, we will have identity politics. Let's get that out of the gate right off. Now, as far as millennials are concerned, they also have a distinguished identity that people like to malign. I've constantly said that maligning millennials is really a fault of the others because
exactly
what we did, in much of what we did, put the millennials in the state that they're in right now. So let's be a little bit more humble in the way we deal with these young folk who the older folk were not left a country much wanting for them.
Our millennials have stepped up to the plate, are out there registering voters, are out there organizing, are out there developing new groups. I mean, all over Harris County, and I get so excited to be able to hang out with our younger voters, the millennials. Because I can learn so much, and we can all learn so much from our millennials. They're just an amazing group of people, and I'm gonna give a shout out to Daniel Cohen.
Daniel Cohen,
He
president of Indivisible Houston, absolutely so.
He's just absolutely phenomenal. The organization that he's put together, the knowledge he has. I could just sit and listen to him talk about politics forever. He's got the information. He's got the facts. He knows so much. I wish I had as much knowledge and depth of knowledge about the different single issues as that young man does. It's absolutely phenomenal and amazing. We all need to be glad that Daniel Cohen lives in Harris County, Texas. I'm serious because he's making a huge impact all over Harris County.
But he's not only doing it for the election; he's doing it for what I call for social issues.
Absolutely.
Like when he goes out to the commissioner's court and really let them. Many people out there don't do that, and as one of the things why these guys get over on us so often is because of when the apathy sets in, nobody cares.
Exactly.
Right? So they do as they please. When you have a lot of these young millennials that are, people get mad because they are frustrated themselves and they go out there and work. People get kind of mad about it, but you know what? In the long run, I think we're going to give them a big hand of thanks.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm so grateful. I learned so much from millennials and from Yvonne Sanchez.
Yvonne Sanchez, absolutely.
I mean, the courageous position that he took and ran for our District 7,
right.
And he's still out there working. Now, not everybody agrees with Yvonne Sanchez. I don't care. What Yvonne Sanchez did as a young person and stepped up to the plate, kudos to Yvonne Sanchez.
One of the things we have to learn as Democrats, let me tell you, I give what I call establishment Democrats a hard time because, as usually folks would say, I am from the left wing of the party, proudly so. I don't know what part you are. You're from the party, okay? So I mean, what we have to do, I'm just giving you a hard time. What we have to do, we have to. After we're done figuring out who the people are that's going to be representing us, we then go out there and we fight like hell for the position. Because for those who don't know, I was a Bernie Sanders supporter, and I want all the listeners to know I was a Bernie Sanders supporter. I went to as a Bernie Sanders delegate, thanks to many of my Hillary Clinton supporters here in Kingwood. They helped send me, the Bernie Sanders supporter, to
Fantastic.
to Philadelphia. And the reason why is they understood one thing. We were going to go over there and we were going to try to get everything we could get based on the ideologies that we had. But going forward, they know whatever the result was going to be, Egberto and all the other passes were going to be out there supporting that which needed support. And I tell you what, after that was over, I went into my Hillary Clinton modal, and in every avenue where I had any impact, whether it's on Daily Kos, whether it's on Op-Ed News,
Right.
whether it's on the Democratic Underground, or on all these other places, including places that weren't friendly to Hillary, I made sure to use the cred that I developed from the left side that I stand for to try to impact that. I think
Right.
every single person, every single Democrat, I think it is their responsibility to do that, because absent that, we get what we have now.
Exactly.
And for those who don't know, and
I'm dying to say
I know you're dying to come in. You know, Bill is always dying to come in. You know, Bill can talk forever.
I'm dying.
But I want to mention some other things. These things have there are reasons for this. Right now in Texas, we have places called Cancer Alley, where we
Exactly.
have exhaust and all these things are coming out. For all of those disgruntled folk who voted here in Texas for, let's say, Donald Trump, etc., rest assured that Cancer Alley is going to become metastasized Cancer Alley.
Exactly.
Because we've just passed new laws, or we're getting new laws modified. Not new laws, the laws are already passed. We're getting new rules from the EPA that's going to allow here in Texas for a hell of a lot more crap to be let out in your ear. And for that, go ahead, Bill. I know you want to come in.
Okay, this is what I want to say about our candidates, and
Yes.
I'm glad you talked about Bernie.
Right.
And we have in Harris County for your bloggers. You know, we have our primaries. Okay, and there's candidates all on kind of whether Bernie or Hillary
Right.
or even our judicial candidates, our Democratic judicial candidates. We've sometimes there's a couple of races at 3 or 4. Lizzie's race,
Right.
Lizzie, she
Right.
had 7
Right.
in her race, and maybe the Bernie supporters initially thought, well, X or Y might have been the strongest Bernie believer in that particular thing. But we had an opportunity to make that happen. And that case, I mean, whether or not it actually was, but my point is, we have our slate.
Yes.
We have our slate, and we've got to go out and promote our slate, even if we don't personally see that particular candidate as the strongest candidate that we liked. But they're our candidate. They could become placeholders.
Right.
See, I'm a strong believer in placeholders.
Now, I want to jump in on you right there,
Yeah.
and for this specific reason, because Lizzie is a candidate that I supported the
absolutely.
Bernie candidate.
Absolutely.
All right? That race is over. The establishment, and this I'm speaking to my folks right now as far as the more left side.
Yeah.
But here's the deal: it is true that the establishment, as we know it, came in and did some disruption here in Harris County. That's a done. That's a known. The way to fight that is not to attack a Lizzie.
Exactly.
Okay. The way to fight that is to make sure in the beginning, when the race comes along the next time around, that we mitigate that.
Exactly.
That doesn't take away any of your left cred, your progressive cred, or anything of that sort. What it does is it ensures that the next time you do better, we do better.
Mm-hmm.
So as Bill just said, we have a slate, and that is a slate we should all be supporting.
Mm-hmm.
I want to go back to Emmett because that has me extremely concerned.
Me too.
And the reason it has me concerned is as follows. You cannot support a candidate who has not disavowed a president who is a bona fide misogynist, sexist, misogynist, and xenophobe. Those are the qualifications. That is Houston.
And won't even denounce Nazis.
Exactly. You cannot. And so the thing about it here, folks, is this. we are not in this game here now to play nice as far as this person is nice or whatever. This and this is
Exactly.
not even partisan. This is moral.
Exactly.
This is no longer partisan. This is moral.
Mm-hmm.
It is moral. You cannot. And if you support, Bill and I are sitting down here. If you start to support candidates who have not disavowed the isms of the president, then you are flying in the face of somebody like myself, a black Caribbean Latino persona.
Right.
Les voy a decir esto. No me importa quiénes son ahora. Nobody. Nadie, absolutamente nadie debe de votar por el señor Emmett. Y la razón es, doing so means that you are disavowing the mix of folk that make up Harris County. You're disavowing your brothers and sisters in Harris County that doesn't look like Brother Bill here.
Exactly.
Go ahead, Bill.
No, I'm listening. I'm agreeing, and it's critical that we make huge changes, and it's critical that we support the slate that we chose as Democrats. We all had a primary. We all went to the polls, and the slate was created. I'm excited about our slate. I think we've got some amazing Democratic candidates for judicial positions, for the legislative positions, for our county commissioners court, for our state senator Beto. I mean, come on now. Let's
Beto ORourke.
yeah, and here's something, and for all of you out there, that because this was a concern for me, and when I was really excited, last Sunday at church, one of the members came up to me after church and said, "Hey, a Beto team came to my door," and so I was like all excited, and I had my fingers crossed, and I think the candidates out there will know why I had my fingers crossed, and so I just asked in exciting voice, "Oh, what did they say? What did they tell you?" And the my friend said, well, they first talked about Beto and how great he's going to be in the Senate and how important it is to get him elected, and then the door walkers, the people that came to talk to her at her house, said, and don't forget to go all the way down the ballot, because without the down ballot makes Beto not as effective when he gets to Congress.
Absolutely.
So so to me that was exciting to hear that their door knockers are out there talking about down ballot.
Yeah, well, I interviewed Beto when he came to Houston. Actually, he was out here in Greenspoint, and I am very impressed with him because Beto took on, and I got a call from a certain person in the county. At first concerned about Beto and what his response was going to be on social and criminal justice.
Oh.
And then I got a call back, and he said, oh my God, Beto is doing it. Beto is actually taking on issues that many Democrats in Texas are scared to take on. And to that, we have to say that is how you bring the vote out. That is how you bring folks that normally don't think these guys care about them. Why bother going out to vote? And that's what a whole lot of our Democratic candidates out there need to learn. And that is when you go out there, support the values of the people that you want to vote for. And I'm going to tell you a little secret. I live here in Kingwood. Okay, and in Kingwood, Texas, this is a very red area. And I can tell you one thing. There are a whole lot of, and I don't know when you were driving out here, coming in here, if you saw those Beto signs.
Yeah, I saw some Beto signs.
You saw those Beto signs. Did you see any Ted Cruz signs?
No Ted Cruz out here.
Now here's what I'm trying to tell you is this is a different election, and this doesn't even have to be very partisan, if you will, because for those people of good ethics, for those people of good morals right now, they are making the transition. They're not necessarily becoming Democrats now. But I tell you one thing, in our narrative, what we are putting out there, let's make sure to leave the door open for absolutely everybody, because that's what a lot of people are looking for. They want to know that, we think this country is in trouble right now. But at the same time, I'm so scared of you old liberals and you old progressives. No need. We know that. We know that, right? We know that, but a lot of them don't. I live amongst them. And there are times I get into conversation, Bill, when folks, after we've gone for 15, 20 minutes, says, I'm a left-wing liberal, right? And say, oh, but you're so nice. And it's like, yeah, you should go out to dinner with a few more. But what I'm trying to say is this, folks. this election has to be transformational.
Absolutely. And can I'm going to interrupt. It's transformational, and it also means standing up to what's right and what's wrong.
Right.
And the last two protests I've been to. One was in the owner of the 1419 Emancipation baby jail. At his house. Okay. And one of the things that we did there was make with the microphones, make sure people knew in his neighborhood that he was the baby jail owner, and he was supporting this and making money off of separating families together. And by the way, they're getting worse. It's not getting any better.
Right.
And one of the things that I like to do on the sidewalks, and everybody should do this. Everybody should do this when you're at his house. I wrote on his sidewalk in front, "Baby jail owner" in chalk. Now maybe I should call John Floyd before I do this to see if I'm going to get arrested.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh hell no, I'm just going to do it. Excuse my French. I'm just going to do it. I'll talk to John after if I need to. But I did not get arrested. They didn't say anything to me. So apparently it's okay to write in chalk on people's sidewalk because it'll wash away.
Yes.
It'll wash away. So it wasn't damaging his property. So anytime I go back out to his house, I will be writing. I don't know if it's legal, though. Yeah.
I don't know if it's all how legal that is.
Well, so go out there on his sidewalk.
You're a lawyer. You should know better.
But it's a criminal issue. I'm a civil judge. I'm a civil law.
Right.
So that's why I wanted to call and talk to John.
Lawyer,
John Floyd before.
Right.
But I didn't have time. I just wanted to get it done. But I didn't get arrested, so that was good. So my point is that when you all go to close to election, we can go into neighborhoods and take chalk and write, "Go to the polls, vote." Put it in chalk on someone's sidewalk, and they'll say, "Oh yeah, it's time to vote. I wonder what this is about." Make sure we keep our neighborhoods engaged. It's cool to write it in chalk. It'll erase. So there's no need to worry about that. And that idea, and I'm going to give a shout out to Deidre Davis, because that idea about writing it in chalk on people's neighborhoods in their neighborhood at voting time, that was Deidre Davis was thinking about doing that, and I said, well, I don't know the legalities of it. Well, now I can tell her it's okay because I just did it and I didn't get arrested.
And you didn't get arrested for doing it. Now if she gets don't forget to if you get arrested, though, give Bill a call, and it comes out of Bill's campaign funds.
and then before that, we protested out at the 1419 Emancipation because we just cannot have baby jails in Harris County, and we have to take a stand. We have to take a stand against that. A lot of people say, "Oh, well, you're a judge. You got to be careful. You're running for judge. You got to be careful." No, I'm sorry. I have positions that I take,
right,
and I'm going to take that position. I don't want a baby jail in my county. They all need to be shut down.
That is what I mean. We have to do that now. Since people come and go on these shows, I just want to reiterate and since this was going to be people. That is how internet media works.
Viewers.
Viewers come and go. Right?
Yeah. Okay, I'm sorry.
So
I thought you meant like me.
Oh no, you're my brother. Come on now.
I know, right?
All right, but anyhow, here's the deal. Again, there are a whole lot of Democrats out there that sort of have a soft spot for Emmett. Okay? So those of you that are just coming in, I want to remind you, there is only one person that deserves the vote for Commissioner's Court. For Commissioner's Court, and that is Lina Hidalgo.
Yes.
And the reason why, and I'm not here promoting this or anything like that. It's just that I've heard too much of people saying, yeah, I'm going to vote for this guy. He's nice. He's not like
No, he's not.
Other.
He is not nice.
You cannot, and I want to put this in everybody's head who's going to listen to this on podcast, vlogcast, or listen to it live or wherever. This is going to have, by the time we'll have several thousand Texans listening to this. I want to tell you something. Any vote for any politician, Republican or otherwise, that has not disavowed the president's misogynistic, sexist, racist, xenophobic behavior, if you vote for them, it's an affront to all the folks that look like me, that are women, that are immigrants, and I fit so many of those things. But anyhow, that you are disavowing those folks that you claim their friends. Remember that, because you are supporting their oppressors.
And he's got an endorsement from a hate group.
Exactly.
Why in the world would a single Democrat vote for a
Stop,
Republican?
Bill. Let's stop saying that. Why would a single moral
Cupid,
person,
exactly, including the R's.
right? Why would a single moral person
I stand corrected.
vote for this guy? Because
There-
I tell you what, I have a whole lot of Republican friends that are just fine, and they don't, unless I tell them.
Exactly.
It's an affront to me if you vote for that guy. They don't internalize that, oh my God, that is what it is.
Exactly.
You
So
know?
so now and once again, how do we get that message out? How do
You
we get
tell-
that? How do we get that message out on the ground? Because it's about communicating the message, and that's a strong message right here in Harris County that we need to do it. And one of the ways to be able to get that done is through Precinct ground game.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
I want to give you kudos on that. I watch you on the internet all of the times. And folks, if there's one reason why you want to have somebody like this running or elected, is the amount of effort that he put in. You called me up one time and said, hey, you're going to be out here at the Union Hall and you needed help to get all these things. And I went out there and you showed a little bit of concern for the amount of people. And I had to look at you and tell you, hey, brother, you went and had this damn thing on a Friday on what time? Early. What do you expect?
7 to 11.
But anyhow, the fact of the matter is there were a lot of people there. I mean, this dude wanted
had
to
about
have
70.
He wanted, I don't know what the hell he was looking for, but he wanted a hell of a lot more people. Look, you guys are doing a great job here and all over the country. This guy is an instantiation of what we want to see as far as ground game, people bringing people to the polls. I watch him on Sundays go to churches, all right? And I mean every kind of churches. I see this brother in some of those churches that are screaming and bumming, and I'm
Hey,
like,
that's my church.
you know, oh, that's your church?
That's my home church.
I didn't realize
that's
that was
my
your
home
church.
church.
Okay,
That's Pastor
but-
Walker. I give a shout out to the Crossing
Okay,
Church.
but
That's Pastor Walker.
I'm like, look, but I've
Yeah.
seen you at other churches too, and I'm like, look at this man. This
Yeah.
guy's all over the damn place, you know. And
Yeah.
then I see him. You know, the one good thing that he does, and I think we have to. I said in the beginning of the show, right, that social media is not going to win us the election, and I said
No.
that internet, mail, and all that nut's going to win, but it also won't lose us the election. And
Correct.
what it does when the job that you do in videoing and for all of you that are listening here, putting this stuff out, letting people see that you're on the ground. You incentivize other candidates to do that, which is what we have to have. We have to have other candidates that say, hell, look at that damn Bill is doing all this stuff on the ground. Maybe I should be doing that too. Because it's a different way of campaigning. A lot of these guys think they can throw some money somewhere and they can use identity politics to win, you know?
No way.
Maybe a black person in a mostly black district or a Latino in a mostly Latino district, and you think you have it won. I mean, you know.
No,
I'm
you
gonna
need to sit. You need to sit on the stairs.
Exactly.
You need to sit on the stairs in people's homes and listen to their conversation.
Exactly.
And hear what they're talking about and hear their concerns and what you can do with a microphone to help that cause.
Right.
And help that position. That's how you get elected. That's how you help people. That's how you make a difference
But
in
not
the
only
community.
that, Bill, that is how you know when you get elected what you have to do for the
Exactly.
district and the people that you're representing,
exactly.
because you understand
Exactly.
the particular
Exactly.
area that you're representing.
Exactly.
And that is what, you know, I mean, we need to start having engagement. And you know, one of the reasons I give up my damn software company to do
I know.
full-time political activism, because I
I
tell
know.
you one thing, just like you gave up a whole lot of your
My
law
business,
practice
yeah.
to go ahead and say, you know what, I want to go ahead and run for this, and in the process I'm going to look. A lot of us are going to have to be altruistic. Those of us who, and by the way, I have to hold you up right now because
Okay.
I also have to ask for a few things.
Oh, yeah.
Those of us who
Okay,
are
I'll be quiet.
yeah, those of us who are that are attempting to be altruistic, not attempting. Those of us who are altruistic, doing what we know has to be done. Not everybody can do that.
We
But
need
you-
to donate.
But what I want to ask you guys, and I'm going to put us up
this
here,
show.
donate to Politics Done Right. At I don't know, for those of you that are listening on your channel, you won't see it, but for those on the Politics Done Right, you'll see it. Go to patreon.com, patreon.com. patreon.com/politicsdoneright, patreon.com/politicsdoneright, or just go to politicsdoneright.com and click on Become a Patreon. You want us to be able to succeed and keep the progressive message out. It's not only for the 2018 election.
Exactly.
It's for 2019.
We got
It's
our
for
school board election.
Exactly. It's for 2020.
Mm-hmm.
If we are really going to get our message out, I tell you what, all those guys that are on channel 11, all those guys that are on channel 13, all those guys on channel 2, you're not going to get the average guy there. You're going to get the person who wants charter schools on channel 11, 13, and 2. They're going to be able to have those folk who are supporting there. You're not going, when it comes to going to places like KPFT, we are the ones who give the voice to those people who don't normally have a voice. So the only way we're going to continue doing that is to give to support programs like Politics Done Right, to support stations like KPFT, and to donate to candidates that are going to make a difference, like Bill McLeod.
All right. And listen, 2019, we've got some amazing races that are going to be coming up as school board races. We need to make sure that we have awesome Democratic candidates that will be ready to run. And I give a shout out to Candace Weber. I hope that she will consider running in the school board or one of the other elections or the city council, something. We need to get Candace Weber elected. She can run and win.
Anything, and
win.
She will be, I'll have Candace Weber right here
Absolutely.
making sure that she gets her message out, both here and at KPFT.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, I mean, that's the strong point, is that we need to stay focused, because like we started out the program, this is not in the bag. 2018 is not in the bag. We've got a lot of work to do. We have to keep pushing. We have to keep pushing all the way to November 6, 7 p.m. when the polls close. We cannot let down. Matter of fact, we need to get busier, because believe me, I got mad as heck. Mad as heck the other day. I just saw an ad by Cruz against Beto.
What did he say?
And I was so steaming I couldn't hear all of it. I mean, but it was all negative stuff. I know. And I got to calm myself when I watch that. But it was such a negative ad, and it just like trying to make Beto look out make him look out as like this big socialist left wing crazy guy that's gonna raise taxes and let everybody run wild, and I love the way they I know you're trying to get
No, I want you to finish.
Okay,
you go finish.
You know, the issues with jails, like we don't want criminal justice. We just want to let all the criminals out on the street. That is as farthest from the truth as ever. We want to be able to support people that are in need and have programs for them, and the hardened criminals need to be in jail, and Beto is right on the money on that.
Beto is going to win because, number one, he's likable. Number two, he's honest in what he's talking about. Number three, he's going to bring a completely new group of folks to vote, because they finally are going to feel there's going to be somebody out there representing them. But I want to say something about something very important that you talk about, narrative. Everybody wants to use the big old socialist word as if it's going to work in 2018. Let me tell you something, okay? The socialist word that people are using today has nothing to do with the communist word of the 1950s at all, okay?
Exactly.
At all. You take out the word socialist, and you listen to the things that Cynthia Nixon, I've interviewed her at Netroots, and as well as Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, I interviewed her last year, and I have both of those interviews at my website. You take out that word that these guys just like to plaster on them, and it is everything every Republican and Democrat that is a middle-class person wants. So what I'm telling you here is, when you are going out there campaigning, when you're going out there doing the narrative, do not get tripped up trying to talk or defend the word socialist. Leave it alone. If they want to call you a socialist, that's fine. You start telling them what, and this is for the candidates now.
Right.
You go out and you tell people what are the 5 things, and I wrote a blog about what are the 5 things that every single progressive that gets elected will do for them. That's all you need to do. Let them call you labels, call them names. You don't call anybody any names. You just talk policy. Policy. This is what we are going to do for you.
Healthcare is a human right.
Absolutely. And whenever they start talking about payment, this show was supposed to be today until Bill said Bill was supposed to be on yesterday. I'm going to tell you, he stood me up yesterday. Bill
Sorry.
did. You know, he was supposed to be on yesterday. So, but today's show was supposed to be about the tax reform 2.0. Okay. Now that they're going to claimedly make
they're going to add, they're asking for more tax cuts now.
Yes, that's
there's more. They're going to be. They want
Bill,
more tax cuts.
Bill, I'm trying to finish my statement, brother. I know you're a
sorry.
judge.
No, I'm
Bill,
not.
you
I'm
can
a
judge.
candidate.
You're a candidate
I'm
for
a
judge.
candidate.
You can shut me up in your
No.
in your judge.
No,
in
I
your
never
thing.
want. I never will do that. I will never do that.
No, but here's my thing. This is very important, right? We have to be able to make the switch.
Yes.
Because let me give you some numbers, and you can actually put this in your narrative. The first tax cut scam claim it was for the middle class, okay? And here's the deal. The budget deficit is out. Here's what occurred. Middle class America and individuals paid $104 billion more in taxes. Corporations paid $71 billion less. That is the cause of this new increase in the budget deficit. So what I want to tell you guys, right? And by the way, expenditures went up because, of course, the baby boomers are getting older, and every day more of them retire. What I want to remind you people about, my dear brothers and sisters, is when you're telling the message must include the tax cut scam that didn't care anything, that was used as a method to cut Social Security, cut Medicaid, and cut student programs.
Exactly.
You always have to tie what you are going to do with what they did. And that is how you create that contrast that people have to say, oh my God, if they continue doing this, then we're hosed. We have to go with the other.
Did you see the new memo that came out? Just I think it was this morning that Trump's cut $10 million. No, it's 10,
I
thought it was 10.
No, I think it's 10
million out of the.
Yeah, but it's a lot of different line items,
Yeah.
so it's more than that. But I mean, there's a particular line item that was suspicious, and it was 10 million.
No, go ahead, go.
You want to talk about the 10 million?
No,
Okay,
you
good.
go.
The 10 million, there's 10 million that was cut from, and if it's, I don't think it's billion. I don't think that's a big, but it's 10. I saw 10 million that was cut.
I stand corrected.
And here we go. That a hurricane is bearing down on us now, and they used $10 million to go lock up children.
Exactly.
That's what it was used for.
Yes, exactly.
To
They're
lock up
taking
children.
they're taking it away from the hurricane fund and FEMA to go to pay to build more centers and to continue to have baby jails.
Okay, Bill, on the daily Politics Done Right show, you have the ability to give a little quick campaign thing. I think I already disabled this on the channels that we shouldn't be doing that on. So go ahead and tell folks a little bit about yourself. You have about 45 seconds.
Well, okay. My name is William Bill McLeod. I am a candidate for Harris County Civil Court at number 4. Straight D. My name is actually at the top of the ballot, at the very top of the ballot, and it's a button that's called Democrat. Push the button, you'll catch me and all my friends. One of the issues I've been practicing law a little over 15 years. I've practiced from municipal courts all the way to the appellate courts. I've tried tons of cases. I've been in district court over 500 times all around the county, not just Harris County, but then the different counties. I've got tons of experience. I'm a solid thinker, solid worker, and I work my ass off. I will get on that bench, and I will make sure that everybody has an opportunity to be heard, and I will follow the law and rule under the law with compassion. And that's really, really critical and important. Everybody will be heard in my court. And I am asking for every single Democrat and every single Republican's vote out there. And the reason why is because my opponent has sought out the endorsement of that hate group, just as every other Republican, including Ed Emmett. So there's another reason. Anyone who's listening in Harris County, and if you're thinking that you want to vote Republican, they're disqualified. Period.
Folks, this is Politics Done Right. I want to remind you that this is a progressive show. What we do is we bring on progressive candidates, we bring on progressive values, we bring on progressive everything. So we need your support. So please go to patreon.com/politics done right. Again, that is patreon.com/politics done right, or just go to politicsdoneright.com. Folks, let me tell you, this election has to be transformational. And this is not only for the health of Harris County. This is not only for the health of Texas. This is not only for the health of the United States of America. This is actually for the world. The world is currently, the current administration and its peons represent a clear and present danger to the world. And that is not an overstatement at all. This is a man with the hands on the button. So please, folks, let's make sure and work hard, get things out there, and let's do the job. My name is Egberto Willis. This is Politics Done Right, and you know how I end this show. I am out.
Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Williams. This is the progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. Remember, you can also send me a tweet to EGBERTOWILLIES. That is, at Egberto Williams. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right.
1, 2, 3, 4.